Hey guys, so today we're going to create this loading GIF. Now before, in my earlier video, you saw we created a GIF utilizing Illustrator, stacking the images and creating the animation using a frame timeline. Well, now I'm going to show you how to create an animation utilizing Photoshop with the video time frame. So we're going to start in Photoshop and we're going to create a new page. Now with this one, I'm just going to make it slightly larger. You can actually stick with the 400 if you want to, just to save space, but I'm going to make mine just a little bit larger with 768 by 768 pixels. You want to make sure your resolution is at 72, and you want to make sure your color mode is set at RGB with a white background. Your color profile is fine. You can leave that one alone right at the moment, and make sure your pixel ratio is set at the square pixel. Once this is set up, you'll want to add your name. So go ahead and include your last name, and then I just put an underscore, and then since we're making a loading GIF, I'm going to go ahead and choose loading and then GIF. And that will be my Photoshop file. Click create. And now we have our document. The first thing we want to do is create the loading ring. So I'm going to grab my shape tool here and I'm going to add a stroke. Now we can create this here in the center. Now I like to create mine with guides. So I'm going to add a new guide by going to View and click New Guide. And if you just go in position and write 50%, it will create a vertical guide, and then do it again by going to View, New Guide, and this time I want a horizontal 50%, and this will give you the exact location of the center of your document, ready to go. You don't have to find those with the ruler. Utilizing those guides, I'm going to click my ellipse tool, and going to the very center, I'm going to click and pull holding down Shift and Alt. Once I'm kind of happy with my size here, my properties panel will pop up for my shape, and that will allow us to change the size of the stroke. If you don't have this pop up, you can also see in your options bar here where you can change your size. So I'm just going to increase this until I'm happy and see what size I want. And you can make this as big as you want. Alright, I think I'm going to 30. 30 is good. Alright, once that's created, and I'm happy with that, I'm going to grab my type tool and going in the center of my form here. I'm actually going to make this centered, so I'm going to click, type my center, and then type loading. Can actually make that just a little bit bigger here, so I'm going to 48. I think it's a little too big for me. I'm going to try 42. Yeah, I like that better. And then I want to center it in my ring. Alright, so now I want to add a little color. Clicking on my lips, I want to apply a gradient. And for the video, I just went ahead and grabbed the preset orange and yellow, and it's a linear gradient, and I wanted it just to go right in the center, which is perfect here. And that's set up the way I like. Then I'm going to go to my loading text, and in the color here I'm going to change this into my orange category here. And I'm going to click this first, and that's a little too dark. There we go. And we got my loading color. So now that I have both things lined up, I can go ahead and hide my guide so I don't have to see them. So I'm hitting Command and then colon. Clicking that off. Now you can make an animation with a flat rendering like this, but because I want to show you the features that it also has, I'm going to show you that it can also carry on styles and things. So let's go ahead and create a little depth with this. So the first thing I'm going to do is, rather than just leaving it with a white background, I'm going to add a color background. So I'm going to hit Shift Backspace and choose color, and I'm ready in a dark blue. So going to my blue category here and going to the one right above black, I'm going to choose OK. Nice dark color. And then I'm going to zoom in and I'm going to pay attention to how I want my shadowing to go. So first I'm going to click on my ellipse layer and I'm going to add a style effect by going to add a layer style and going to inner shadow. So for the inner shadow, I have multiply 46, and the angle doesn't really matter because it's radial, and the distance set at 11, the choke at 0, the size at 19, and this is actually looking really good. So I'm going to go ahead and leave this particular inner shadow and click OK. Then I'm going to go to my text and add some effects to my text. So the first thing I'm going to do is create a bevel by going to the little FX symbol, which is add layer style, and going to bevel and emboss. Now for this one here, I want my style to be an inner bevel. I want it to be smooth. I'm going to start my depth off with 95 and see what that looks like. And I'm going to increase my size a little bit here to 4. Soften at 3. It's getting a little bit better here. Okay, and since I had my use global light, it did my ring as well, so they're both matching. My altitude at 42. I'm going to increase my screen a little bit here. And I'm going to reduce my multiply here. All right, we got a nice little highlight happening on the loading, shadows. This looks good. All right, the next thing I want to add is a drop shadow. So I'm going to click down here to my drop shadow option, click on the check mark, and then click on the feature here itself. And then for the drop shadow, I want multiply. I have my opacity set at 35. And I'm going to uncheck my global light, and I'm actually going to put it at 90 here. And then I'm going to have my distance, let's see, 1, 0. I'm going to increase my size to 3. And then see what that looks like. Just popping out a little bit. Hit OK. All right, so now that this is done, let's go ahead and add that timeline. So we're going to go to Window and we're going to choose Timeline. If you don't already have this window up, do that now. Look like this. And rather than create frame animations, which is what we did last time, this time we're going to create a video timeline. And once you have that option available, go ahead and click. And what it does is it makes those individual layers here in your track. Once we have your loading one, and you have your ellipse, and you have your background that we unlocked to add to your form. Now I'm going to go ahead and name this one background, since the other ones kind of already took on their name. And we can leave it at rips, but I'm just going to name it ring. And as you can see, any changes you do here to the layer, it's affecting your timeline. All right, so let's start with rotating the ring. I'm going to move this down a little bit here, just so you guys can see. And what we wanted to do is we wanted to rotate. So we're going to open up the ring, and you can see you have lots of options here. Now, here's the concern, is right at the moment, because of the fact that this is a shape tool, we do not have our transformation option, and that's what we need. So we need to make this a smart object. So we're going to right click and choose Convert to Smart Object. When you do that and you right click on the ring, now you'll see the transformation options. So we can click on this. When you click on this, you put a marker indicating that you want to mark at this spot. If you go to your location here, let's just go to 1. Now if I use my rotation tool, and make sure you click first before grabbing shift, then once you do, you can go ahead and get that mark to stay perfect at the 90-degree angle. That will, by clicking this check mark to confirm your transformation, it will make a marker on that timeline. Then you can go again to the 2, rotate again, hold down shift after you started moving it, makes another marker. Then we're going to do it one more time. Once you have your marker set, you can move them. So let's say that was too slow. We can move it to the 20, we can move it to the 10, and then we can move this one to the 2. And then let's say we want to have one more marker where it goes back. We can do our final transformation, leaving the final marker. Now if we take our screen and drag it down, I'm going to drag all of them actually. Now I can go back and check it out by pushing play. Watch it go round, watch it go round, watch it go round, and so on and so forth. In this nice continuous loop. Alright, so now you've seen what it can do. So let's see what this looks like if we load this on the web. So the first thing we want to do is save this for Photoshop. So we're going to go ahead and go to File, Save, and we're going to go ahead and do the loading GIF PSD by choosing the Photoshop format and layers. Choose Save. So that's the first thing we're going to do. The next thing we're going to do is go to File, and we're going to export this for the web by going Save for Web. And we can go ahead and preview this to make sure it's looking good. Alright, so if you notice, it's not continuous. So that's the first thing we need to do, is we need to go back to Photoshop in our Save panel here, and right here where it says looping option, it only says once. We need to make sure that clicks on forever. Let's try that again. And there we go, we have a continuous loop. So going back to Photoshop, I'm going to go ahead and choose Save. We are good to go. Alright, now that you've seen how to create a simple loading ring, let's see if we can take this one step farther and show you another way in which we can transform this. So for example, let's take loading. Let's say we want it to slowly appear and disappear. If we close down the tab for the ring and open up loading, you can have your opacity here, and we're going to actually go to the middle of the area and choose our opacity at our full %. Okay, then we're going to go to the beginning here and choose our opacity 0. And then it appears, and then we're going to go over here and we're going to do 0 again. So now when it plays, it loads and it goes away, loads and it goes away. So this is just another way to show you how you can utilize these features. Let's go ahead and check this out by going to Export, Save for the Web. And with the forever looping option, go ahead and hit preview and check it out. All right, so now that I've shown you how to utilize opacity, what if we actually utilized 2 layers and opacity to change the color of loading? So rather than it going from in the background to orange, what if we changed it from yellow to orange and back and forth? So let's create a duplicate layer of loading. And on this loading, rather than it being orange, we're actually going to make this yellow text. So we need to open the properties panel. And rather than orange text, we are going to go to yellow here. Let's do a bright yellow. Yes. All right. So on that yellow text, there we go. We're going to go here, and on this one, since we're selected here, we're actually going to make this 100%. Then we're going to go to the middle, and we're going to make it 0. Then we're going to go to the end and make it 100%. So then it should go orange to yellow to orange to yellow. So you can really see, and if I push play here, you can see how layers can work together and you can do different things depending on what it is you want to achieve. We're going to go ahead and test this out for the web by going to Save Export. I'm going to preview this. And there we go, yellow to orange, yellow to orange. All right, guys, now it's your turn to try to create a video animation utilizing a loading ring and try out these different styles and techniques. And don't forget to have some fun.